Galactic Hour News Roundup. Sanmatar Maleatu Shakor confirmed by Tribal Assembly. Militia offensive continue. The Scope Galactic Hour with Brett Gloriex brings your roundup of the latest news from across the cluster, as Sanmatar Maleatu Shakor is confirmed in post once more at the conclusion of the biannual Tribal Assembly of the Minmatar Republic, while Minmatar and Gallente offenses continue to make progress in militia war zones. Sanmatar Maleatu Shakor confirmed by Office and Tribal Assembly. Matar, Pator System. Maleatu Shakor has been confirmed for an 8th term of office as Sanmatar of the Minmatar tribes by the Tribal Assembly of the Minmatar Republic in its final session of the Great Caravanserai on Matar. Sanmatar Shakor is the longest-serving leader of one of the Big Four empires and had a long career as a leading politician within the Minmatar Republic before becoming Sanmatar in YC-110. Although the Sanmatar is technically not the head of state of the Minmatar Republic, that role being collectively fulfilled by the Tribal Council of Chiefs, nor head of government, that being the role of the Prime Minister. The office wields enormous power and is functionally the chief executive and highest military commander of the Tribal Republic. In essence, the Sanmatar is the de facto head of state for most practical purposes within the Tribal Council, while the Tribal Council is not sitting. Other matters settled in this cycle's Tribal Assembly included economic liberalization proposals, funding for military and security spending, ratification of alterations to basic law, pardons and settlements of tribal and clan debts, and the resolution of a number of outstanding cases of contested tribal territories. While both the issues of economic liberalization and the growth of military and security spending were highly contentious issues, Sanmatar Shakor was able to negotiate agreement between the tribes. The political deal-making essentially parlayed an agreement on easing intertribal economic The political deal-making essentially parlayed an agreement on easing intertribal economic regulations and reductions in tribal and clan protectionalism for an agreed schedule of increased contributions to the military and security agencies of the Republic. Tribal Liberation Forces offensive in Amarr Minmatar war zones liberate Minmatar systems and thrust into Empire. Matar Pator System. The stunning success of the resurgent Minmatar Tribal Liberation Force offensive over the last month has liberated almost all of the Minmatar's sovereign systems from Amarr occupation, while also thrusting deep into the territory of the Amarr Empire as defined by the Ulai Accords. The dramatic turnaround in the Minmatar fortunes spearheaded by militia capsuleers also deflated tensions building within the Republic over the threat to Minmatar territories in the last 2 years. Sanmatar Maleatu Shakor was notably able to capitalize on the success of the Minmatar militia to diffuse an acrimonious debate between the Brudor-led militarist bloc of tribes and clans of the Sebastor-led diplomatic bloc. The relief of Flossiswin IV after a siege of almost a year was particularly totemic moment hailed by Sanmatar Shakor as a major achievement made possible by the Tribal Liberation Force. Republic fleet units have ferried fresh troops and paramilitary forces of the Republic Command and Republic Justice Department to the surface of Flossiswin IV, along with delivering much-needed supplies and evacuating those civilians wishing to leave the war-torn planet. Despite losing space superiority, Amarr forces under House Sorum command remain in control of a large number of fortified positions across Ugidi Constellation, and the so-called Fortress Asset remains a stronghold of the 24th Imperial Crusade. Given the large number of Amarr troops placed in various planets of Asset and the wider Ugidi Constellation, prospect for peace in the war zone remains as remote as ever. Federal Defense Union continues counteroffensive to regain control of Gallente systems. Luminaire Essence. Gallente Militia has continued their own month-long counteroffensive against the Caldari forces to regain control of much Federation territory that has fallen under state protectorate control. The Federal Defense Union has continued to push Caldari occupiers out of the Placid and Verdgender regions, with some recent assaults on Caldari state territories in Blackrise and the Citadel. The situation in the Gallente Caldari war zone remains highly chaotic on the ground, with many Federation colonies remaining under the control of the Caldari state units and affiliated mercenary companies. The Intaki system continues to be held by the state protectorate, but the Intaki Assembly's planetary defense units and territorial army has continued to maintain a secure hold on Intaki Prime. Caldari corporate security forces have rather concentrated on so-called asset reclamation operations on planets with less developed defenses, or were fully occupied by state protectorate and affiliated forces. In the face of Federal Defense Union's counteroffensive, a steady stream of Caldari corporate and mercenary vessels have been evacuating and retreating from systems and planets previously occupied by state forces. The Federal Senate's delegation visiting Caldari core territory, currently finishing up its tour with its final rounds of talks aboard GHNR Trade Hub Station, has issued a communique protesting the, quote, puritanical looting carried out by Caldari mercenaries and some corporate security forces, end quote. The Chief Executive Panel and Federal Administration have not commented on the situation beyond pro forma statements deploring the excesses and condemning, quote, pirate activity on the fringes of the militia conflict, end quote. Reports from the war zone indicates that the notorious Special Department of Internal Investigations and Federal Security, or Black Eagles, have arrived in force on a number of planets in recent liberated systems. Large contingents of Concord Sorrow and Derail counter-war clone and anti-AI divisions are also present in theater, together with Kirkin Risk Control and Algento Corps mercenary groups, the later allegedly sanctioned under a secret agreement between the Federation and the state. News in brief. Federal Senate delegation ends tour of Caldari State on GHNR trade hubs with talk on interstellar customs and trade regulations. Rebel activity and Minmatar mandate reported on rise as House Artichoper increases levy of troops from derelict. Light-Eye Protection Services and Ishikone Watch deny Galente accusations of systematic looting of Placid and Verge Vendor. Serpentis Corporation accused of sponsoring Anibra cult assassinations in recent spike of murders and terrorism in Syndicate, Solitude, and Placid. Svarog activity increases in Rarvas following burst of Clade communications described as bizarre and bordering on religiously exultant by Edencom analysis. Hetman General Kenneth Filmer lands on Flossiswin 4 with relief force as Republic sweeps Amarr blockade aside. DD reports substantial rise in smuggling of illegal boosters, weapons, and conflict resources across all empires. Amarr Navy movement on border of militia war zone causes alarm among Concord conflict monitoring and diplomatic corps. Minmatar Republic recruiting drive boosted by success of militia offensive and liberation of key systems. House Sorum fleets regrouping at fortified staging areas in Domain, Divoolej, and Bleaklands. Draglavian forces encountered on surface of Othun 6 by Federal Marines, Edencom describing incident as disturbing. Amarr blockading force loses to Republic fleet Amarr blockading forces losses to Republic fleet reported as heavy following TLF victory in Flossiswin. Order of St. Tetramon raiders monitored crossing into Minmatar-occupied systems in the war zone. SOE mission on Skarkon 2 reports loss of humanitarian workers as new fighting between Svarog, Velez, and Minmatar forces erupt. Empress Ketchis I recalls royal heirs to Dam Torsad in full meeting of the Imperial Privy Council. Heads of Ranalair 5 Planetary Assembly denies accusations of collaboration with Caldari occupation forces. Amarr and Minmatar mercenaries units continue to clash on planets behind front lines of Tribal Liberation Force offensives. Perun Clade reported to have launched massive construction projects on storm planets of Kino, Canola, and Navula. Breaking news. Caldari state sources report major security breach detected by Navy and state security agencies. Breaking news. Massive spy hunt said to be underway across Caldari state with focus on GHNR trade hub. Breaking news. Multiple civilian zones locked down across GHNR and military docks, quote, flooded with Navy Marines. So this was the events that led up to the hunt. And this right here is the end. This is when they activated contingency omelet. That's it for this world news.